Hello, I'm Gary Leland, co-host of the Crypto Cousins podcast. Now, if you're not familiar with the Crypto Cousins podcast, please take a look and subscribe to our weekly podcast at cryptocousins.com/subscribe. I promise you're going to enjoy all the great information and all the great content we bring you week after week after week. Now, today I'm talking about blockchain. So what is blockchain? Well, I normally start these videos out with Wikipedia, so I guess we shouldn't change it now, right? We should check and see what they have to say about blockchain. And Wikipedia says, the main chain consists of the longest series of blocks from the Genesis block to the current block. Now, orphan blocks exist outside of the main chain. A blockchain is a growing list of records called blocks, which are linked using cryptography. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, a timestamp, and transaction data, generally represented as a Merkle tree root hash. Now, really, that's not that complicated of an answer. At least ways for Wikipedia, it's not bad at all. I should tell you, though, that the term Genesis block, now that refers to the first block ever created on the Bitcoin blockchain. And I could explain what a Merkle tree is, but since this is just a basic explanation of blockchain itself, I don't think I'm going to go and spend a lot of time on that right now. And I know the first part of it was kind of confusing too, but to put it simple, the term blockchain is really just a new type of ledger system. But unlike all ledger systems that are already in place, blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger system. Now, many people refer to blockchain as the technology that powers Bitcoin, and I often hear people on financial channels and other media sites saying how much they love blockchain. So maybe we should go a little deeper into the blockchain, or what would be the use of this video. Now, blockchain was the invention of Satoshi Nakamoto, and no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. That's right. I mean, no one knows someone might, but no one knows who that person is either. But Satoshi Nakamoto could be a man. Satoshi Nakamoto could be a woman. Satoshi Nakamoto could even be a group of people operating under that name for a common purpose. But the subject of Satoshi Nakamoto is a story in itself, and I think I'll save that story for another time and maybe another video. Now, in 2009, a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system came out and it introduced Bitcoin to the world and explained this new technology called blockchain. Now, with the use of the new blockchain technology, a network of computers can be created for sharing and saving data without the help of any third parties like banks or governments even. This is the main reason that blockchain is called a decentralized ledger system. Now, Bitcoin uses the blockchain as its public ledger system, and the blockchain helps Bitcoin keep everything synced and prevents any double spending of Bitcoins. Like I said earlier, blockchain technology was first used to track Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but in the future, blockchain may be used to track things like stocks, voting, and many other type of items may be used on the blockchain. But at the moment, we're going to stick with how blockchain is involved with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, the Bitcoin blockchain is a fraud-proof system of record keeping that records transactions, and like I said, without a bank, a government, or any kind of third party being involved at all. The blockchain makes sure that everyone and everything is correct and that it's all on the up and up. Now, let's say you were going to send me a Bitcoin, which you are welcome to do. I'll be more than happy to take it. But when you send me that Bitcoin, the actual transfer of that Bitcoin will be sent to every computer that is participating on the Bitcoin network. Now, the computers on the network will see my wallet address. Well, that's where you're sending the Bitcoin, and they will see your wallet address. That's where the Bitcoin's coming from. They will also see that you're sending me one Bitcoin. Now, some of the computers on the Bitcoin network are known as full nodes. And these full nodes hold an entire copy of the Bitcoin blockchain, starting from the Genesis block, or the first one. and which I said earlier is basically the Bitcoin ledger system. Now, the full nodes will receive the information about the Bitcoin you sent me, and then they will verify the transaction information against their copy of the Bitcoin blockchain. The full nodes will check to see if you even have a Bitcoin that you can send to me. Then they will also check other new transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain to make sure that you're not trying to send that same Bitcoin you sent me to someone else at the same time. If you sent that same Bitcoin to me and someone else, that would be considered double spending. And double spending was a big problem with cryptocurrencies before the invention of the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, once a transaction is checked and approved by the full nodes, it will be transmitted to a special kind of node called a Bitcoin miner. Now, Bitcoin miners compete with one another to write the next block of the Bitcoin blockchain, and they will include your transaction in the next block. In other words, the records of the Bitcoin you sent me will be permanently recorded in the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, the process of recording to the next block is known as proof of work. Proof of work hashing, actually. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time or a lot of detail about mining, not at this time, but it's a very important part of the Bitcoin network, and the Bitcoin blockchain would not work without the miners. Now, proof of work will normally use the longest chain as the official chain, and let me try to explain that to you. Let's imagine that two miners find a new block at about the same time. Both of the miners have an incentive, a financial incentive, to broadcast their new block to the network, since this block also contains a monetary reward for them. Now let's assume each miner submitted a block that was only accepted by half of the computers on the Bitcoin network. That means there would be a fork in the blockchain. So now you would have two chains started, and that would start a race between the two forks. Whichever fork receives the next block, well, they would pull ahead of the other fork. And that happens until there's a clear winner in terms of successful proof of work. Now, eventually, miners that are on the losing fork or chain will move over to the longer chain. And any transactions that are exclusive to the losing or the shorter chain will not be shown in the winning or the longest chain. So there is an incentive to determine and move over to the winning or longest chain as soon as possible. Now, I know I did not go super deep into mining, as that's a subject all to itself, but I hope that now you have an idea of what the Bitcoin blockchain is, what it does, and how it works, what a full node is, and what a miner is. You probably figured out, though, that the blockchain is a topic that has a lot of subtopics, and like I said, Bitcoin could not exist without the Bitcoin blockchain. Hey, don't forget to go to CryptoCousins.com for more videos, podcasts, and more great information about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I'm your host, Gary Leland, and thanks again for joining me on What is Blockchain? This is a CryptoCousins.com production.